I'm Tyler James Vivas.
Matt Simmons. How far do I go into this?
I don't like to introduce myself immediately as, hi, I'm Tyler and I'm a trans guy, because at the end of the day, it's what I am, it's not who I am.
Your brain is basically labeled with gender A, and sometimes, just like getting born with an extra thumb or anything else, your genitals are labeled gender B.
They assigned me a specific gender at birth, and I grew up and I realized I don't identify as that gender I was assigned.
And so sometimes that happens, and you find out really early in life or later in life, like me, and you just gotta fix it.
Therefore, I made a change, whether medically or not, to identify as the gender that is fitting.
My freshman roommate actually, just like out of the blue one day, she was like, "Hey, do you think you're transgender?" And I was just like, no way.
And I remember I was like bawling, like sobbing my eyes out on Skype with a friend. And I was telling her, I was like, I feel out of my body. I hate that I'm a girl.
She was like, you should do some research on that. And I went and Googled it, and I was just like, oh shit, look at that. And then I was like, yeah, I'm transgender.
Reading that was the push, and everything just fell into place.
I, started the fight with my insurance in March 2018 and didn't get approved to start testosterone until April 2019. You have to be on hormones for a year minimum before you can get any kind of surgeries or anything like that. And so a year would have been April 2020, but here we are, and going into October, and I'm just now going in to get my surgery next week.
I wanted to rush things. I wanted to look like the man that I envisioned in my mind. You have to go to therapy for a year to make sure that you do have gender dysphoria, and a therapist has to sign off on it, and then you could go to an endocrinologist, and then the endocrinologist has to examine your body and make sure that you're in the right weight range and that there's no underlying medical conditions. And once the endocrine does that and everything is approved, he gives you testosterone. Not a lot of people can afford testosterone under their insurance. And I didn't start to look the way that I wanted to look maybe until a year and a half into transitioning.
Testosterone took to me like really well. I started gaining muscle way easier. My voice dropped significantly. Everything that I wanted to happen basically happened.
You definitely are a lot more aggressive. I've realized that. And I'm naturally an aggressive person, so I have to I go 0 to 100 real quick.
34. I think this is my fifth surgeon I've gone through. It's the same surgery, but every single doctor does it different. It's crazy just to see that's not like just like a regulated standard of care.
Most trans men get a double incision, right? They would cut this part of your body open and, extract all the fat and mold the chest, right? And I didn't want scarring. And so I was in the perfect weight and breast size to do keyhole. So what keyhole is that they cut off the nipple, they just remove the nipple, and then they extract, the fat, and they mold it, and then they sew the nipple back on. I have 100% sensation in this area of my body. The drugs were phenomenal. It knocked me out in 2 seconds. 2.5 hours later, I had no titties.
I'm so bad with medical stuff. I think it's called a double mastectomy. It's scheduled for October 1st.
How are you feeling going into it?
Nervous as hell. I guess because it's been canceled so many times. But with this one, we're 5 days away.
I had to recently go back though because a stitch wasn't degrading in my nipple, and I had to have awake surgery. And I was like, holy shit. I could see myself helping people like me for the rest of my life. I changed my major officially from business on a pre-law track to community health on a pre-med track.
I definitely feel like there's multiple people I can lean on. Like my little sister is really great, and my wife, she's super, super, super supportive. I totally would have given up a long time ago. Everything was starting to kick off for me, when I first started going to doctors and stuff. And even when we were friends, she was like, no, absolutely not. No, that's not the right answer. Go figure it out. Go get it done. Don't accept anything less. I wouldn't be where I am now. I probably wouldn't have even started hormones yet. I definitely would not have been scheduled for surgery. She is my number one supporter, and she is like the best thing that's ever happened to me in my entire life.
After top surgery, I finally saw the man that I was envisioning in my head. I am finally 100% content with how I look and with who I am. Top surgery was that final mark of solidifying that for myself. How long, did that take? A rough 3 years, but a beautiful 3 years that I would never trade for anything. That time made me who I am now.